There's thousands of ads bombarding you every day, and it can seem impossible as a small business owner to break through all that noise. But the good news is you don't really need a massive budget. You just got to be very clear and focused and relevant with your marketing and make sure that the messaging speaks directly to the specific customer. I've got a couple of quotes here. HP, Hewlett Packard's co-founder: marketing isn't just a department or function. It's a core of the business. It's everybody's responsibility to be doing marketing. Everything that you do when you're talking about your business in a way is marketing. This is Charles Revson, founder of Revlon. We make lipstick, but we're selling hope. So people are buying outcomes. They're buying a solution to a problem. They're not buying a product. So they don't want lipstick. They want beauty and confidence. So thinking beyond features is what really resonates and gives you a strong message. And Seth Godin is a marketing consultant or author. And you probably hear this a lot, but marketing really is about telling stories, right? People respond well to stories, and it's not a sales pitch. You've got to understand the customer's challenges and provide a solution in a trustworthy, authentic way. So you're small business owners. I get it. I didn't study marketing at school. I actually did animation at school. My first work experience was on the set of Bob the Builder, the puppet stop motion animation for kids. So most people I know that are professional marketers didn't start in marketing, and it can feel very intimidating and it feels like you need some kind of special expertise. But the truth is, your business better than anyone, and you know how to talk about your business and the value that it provides. You just need to have a structure for it. So when you're putting a business together, whether you're just starting out, you've been in business for years, things like choosing your target market, your pricing, what is the actual offering that you're selling, you're probably considering these as like business strategy, like in your business plan. And then on the marketing side, it's how you promote the offering. But really, you are doing marketing from the very day that you first come up with the idea for your business or the product that you're selling. Everything that you're doing is building a marketing story that you just need to be able to deliver consistently in a clear way. I guarantee you know more about marketing than you're giving yourself credit for. So how do you start? There's basically just these 4 questions that you need to figure out. And it's, who is it you're talking to? Who is your audience? What problem are you solving? Why is your solution the best, or the best for them in that situation or in that time? And can you prove it? Can you back it up? So I'm going to go through in more detail all of those questions. But one thing I really want to have people note or remember is, if you try and be everything for everyone, you won't be anything to anyone. So it's a little cutesy thing, but it's so true. If you're trying to say too much to too many different types of people, you'll just miss the mark. And I've been guilty of this so much. And a lot of people I work with, clients that I work with, are hesitant to go too focused in their marketing because they're worried about missing an opportunity with someone else. But it's such a key fundamental point that, especially when you're just starting out, you can't do big, broad marketing campaigns. You need to be laser focused and pick the one thing that you're trying to get across to the one person that you're trying to reach, and just go hard after that. So there's these 3 C's of effective messaging. I touched on a couple of these already. But be clear. I worked in ad tech, where a lot of people with their marketing, they're trying to outdo each other with how clever they are. Just be simple, straightforward, and clear in your message. You shouldn't have to explain your explanation as to what you do. So don't try and be clever. I think it's good to state the obvious. You live and breathe your business day in, day out. You're trying to capture someone's attention in literally 2-5 seconds. So just be clear, don't worry about stating the obvious, and concise. So you can be very clear, but in a long format essay, no one's going to read. So you have to be very concise. You have to make sure that every word earns its place. And again, this core theme that I keep bringing up is one thing. So one idea per message. And it should be easy to remember for you, but also ideally easy to remember for your target audience. And then consistency. So you want to use the same message everywhere. And this is one of the biggest problems I see all the time is you as the business owner or employee or whatever it might be gets tired of the marketing slogan or the brand asset that you're using. And oh, we need to freshen up our campaign assets because they're getting boring. And the reality is you will get bored of them, but you're lucky if your target audience has even seen them. And hopefully they've seen them. You want them to remember them. And if they do remember them, there's a very high likelihood they're not going to be annoyed or bored with it yet. So it's such like a non-issue. You want to be saying the same thing over and over again. It's the only way that your message will get through and people will start remembering you. So don't change your logo or your branding or your messaging when you're bored with it, because yeah, your target audience barely will remember it. Yet they will remember it once you've got through to them. So I want this to be hands-on. I have got some worksheets I put together. This is optional. You can just keep note in a separate tab or pen and paper. But if you want to follow along with this worksheet, I put a link and a QR code on the screen here, and I'll keep it up on the following slides. But this worksheet, basically, we're going to go through the steps on how to pick one thing to promote, making sure it's the right thing to promote, figuring out who you're talking to. You might have heard the term like buyer persona or ideal customer profile. It's basically your target audience, and you really want to understand who that person is. And you want to, from their point of view, like what questions will they have about your product? You want to preemptively answer as many questions and hesitations and doubts that they might have before they actually are talking to you, so that they're like warmed up to the situation or they're ready to make a purchase. And how you help, obviously important. You got to explain what it is that your offering does that maybe the competition doesn't. Is there something unique yourself that you bring to it, and what benefits will they get out of it? So they're the sort of main points there. So starting with pick one thing to promote. So this can be difficult. Most companies have a wide range of products and services. And this isn't to say that this is the only thing you will ever promote. I'm just saying it's so hard just to get stuff out the door, and getting like a campaign of any description live is often people get like carried away with looking at individual tactics and what channels am I going to use. So let's just strip it all back. Let's focus on just one single thing. So you can list out your products and services, see if there's any that stand out first that you want to promote, but ideally you have some success story to go with it. And you need to be confident you can deliver it as well. So it shouldn't be a service that is a pain to deliver. Maybe it's not your highest margin thing, but it's something that is good. People like it, and you have something to back it up that we can use in the marketing. So yeah, write down what you're going to promote, why you selected it. And I know this works because I've done it for 50 clients and got 5-star reviews, something like that. So the next one, know who you're talking to. So you've identified a product, and let me use an example. So I've got a good friend who's a physical therapist, and I think that'd be a good use case here. So let's say the thing that he is going to promote is, I know he works with a lot of college aged like sports athletic people, and there's a lot of like injury recovery. So let's say I'm a PT doing injury recovery. Who am I talking to? So what are the characteristics of this target audience. So if you've been in business a while, if you can think about your best customer that you want to replicate, who are the people that you are best aligned with. So with this physical therapist, like I mentioned, college-aged, highly active people. They are typically adventurous, sort of outgoing people, sports people. So try and think of all the characteristics you can. You don't need a lot. I've purposely kept the input space small because the output here is basically a paragraph that we want to bring all of this together. So common characteristics, and then define their problem. So what is the problem that you are solving with the product or service that you've picked? So in our example here, physical therapy for injury recovery, the problem is they're injured. So it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. We just want to document the issue that they have and how we are going to help them. So what do they want to know? So this is where you really got to understand your customer and put yourself in their shoes. And if I've never been to a PT before, I've never been to a physical therapist before, what would I be thinking? What questions would I be asking myself? Like, first of all, are they any good? Do they know what they're doing? But also like emotional concerns. Maybe I'm nervous to go. Are they friendly? Is it going to be like going to a doctor's office, or is it more like going to a gym? And technical details, not always relevant, but again, you want to basically get rid of as many questions that a customer or a potential customer might have before you're actually talking to them. So the marketing messaging ideally can cover off a lot of those doubts. So yeah, common questions, don't forget emotional concerns and any technical details. The next step is how you help. So you can list out all of the ways that you are helping to solve this problem. So trying to think for the PT, the way that we help, obviously it's put together a plan. You work with experts who have been doing this for a number of, I don't know enough about physical therapy, to be honest, but your business, and that's what I was saying at the start, your business better than anyone. So what are the specific problems that you are solving with your offering? And what are the expected results? So if you can list immediate benefits as well as lasting improvements, it makes it much more compelling. So I guess for PT, the immediate benefits would be like get back in action sooner than later. Lasting improvements is you've learned how to stretch and do everything you need to do to be fitter than ever, and you come out on the other side stronger. So you want to paint a picture. We're trying to tell a story. So what is the benefit and the improvement? So that's really the groundwork, and went through it quickly here. But if you spend some time on this, you should really only need to do this once. And that gives you all of the building blocks that you need for pretty much any marketing material. If you can fill in those pieces of information, it makes everything so much easier going forwards, and you can be consistent with it. So what we've got here is a framework for messaging, right? So this webinar is about messaging. We are now at that point, but it's important to do that previous few steps to fill in the blanks here properly, like in a good way. So let's get started. Imagine someone's really busy. You've only got 2 seconds of their time. There's a thing called the hook, and it's critically important. People scan things. If you're swiping through social media, you're just seeing headlines. I like to think if you're stood on the street and waiting for a traffic light and there's buses going past with advertising on the side of the bus, like that's how you need to be thinking about it. It's like you got 2 seconds to catch their attention, to spark their curiosity for them to keep reading. So the hook needs to, grab attention. If you have data points or some kind of statistic, people are drawn to numbers. So the hook doesn't have to be a question. It quite often is a question that sparks curiosity, but it can definitely be a statement. And if you have some kind of data or statistic to go with it, then it's a great use. Value. This is where we look back at what you were just writing, the benefit that you are bringing with your offering. How do you solve the problem or improve their situation? So these are tricky. Like, it's definitely work to think through all of this stuff. But the foundational steps that we took before should give you pretty much everything you need to write these together. So we've got the hook, value that you're bringing, evidence. So I have been doing this for 20 years, helping 70 businesses, whatever it is. This is where you start talking about yourself. So don't hold back, because this is one of the only places where you're really talking about how awesome you are and your offering is. So the evidence is to build credibility and trust, and then differentiator. So this could just be like a couple of words or a sentence, why you're different to the competition, because the person is looking to buy your service or sign up for your service or buy your product. They're going to be looking at others, right? So it's good to understand the competition, but really focus on what you're bringing. You don't need to go crazy with competitor analysis stuff. It's more like, your reason for starting this business is because what? Like, why are you the right person to solve this problem that they're facing? And then the call to action typically will be different depending on where this is used. So you don't want to ask too much too soon, right? If you think like you're on one side of a river and you know that life is better on the other side of the river, but it looks scary to jump across, that's a big leap. You don't want to necessarily make that. But if you lay stepping stones, and it's just one step, one step, one step, you get across. So what I mean by that is, rather than saying buy now, it's download our guide or watch a video or read a blog post. It seems like super obvious and too simple, but honestly, all of these marketing strategies really are just like these simple stepping stones, and you're guiding the person to the purchase at the end. And it's just building trust and credibility as you go, step by step. So yeah, the call to action, you want it to be specific. You don't want it to be just learn more. You should never use learn more. It should be a very clear action of what they can expect as well. So it's not like they get there, they take the action, and then they're confused. That's not what the button said, right? That's the framework. Now, AI is obviously amazing, and I've waited to talk about AI until this point because it's as good as what you're giving it, right? It's a tool, it's a phenomenal tool, but it doesn't replace your life of experience and the skills that you have and why you started this business. AI can't tell that story, only you can. So while it might be tempting to copy and paste like the prompts and the questions in here straight into AI and get it to help you write everything, highly recommend that you do at least the first section before the actual messaging framework piece, 100% by yourself. And then you can use AI. I like the Claude AI. There's a lot of different options out there, but it tends to give you more creative responses for writing, I find. So yeah, you do that foundational work. Who am I talking to? What's my product offering? The problem I'm solving, all of those pieces we talked about. You can then ask AI to help you write the hook and summarize my value proposition and summarize my experience. That's where it's really good, because it's hard to write a small amount. It's easy to write a page. It's hard to write a sentence that captures everything that page does. But AI is excellent at condensing things down. A few tips here. You'll get these slides at the end. And also, if you're downloading the worksheet, it comes with it. But you want to be very specific with your questions. You don't want to just say, I have a flower store and I need to market it. You've got to give it very precise instruction. Otherwise, you get generic garbage out of it. So tell it who to be and give context. Definitely define who you're talking to. So all these building blocks you can give to the AI and help get that output, and break things down into smaller tasks. So don't ask for it to write the whole elevator pitch or messaging block. in one go, still break it down into the individual steps that we've got, and you'll get much better results. And don't just take what it gives you and move on. Like, you can question it and push back on it. And it's, why did you say that? And there's so many times where the AI was like, oh, you're right, I should have done this. It's very funny. They can come across so confident in their answers, but a lot of the time they're making stuff up. You might have heard like hallucinations, but don't be scared to question the AI and even tell the AI to question you more. So if it needs more information about something, ask me questions. So yeah, this is not meant to be an AI webinar, but it'd be silly not to mention it because it is such a helpful tool. So why have I put all this together? I have a massive respect for people that make things, like people that are doers, not talkers. And the fact that you guys are on this webinar like means that you're one of them, and you're here because you want to take action and build something. I've been through a lot of situations where I've had the empty bank account and I'm using personal funds to meet payroll, and losing business to competitors that I know aren't as good as what I'm doing. And all the anxiety and the stress, and building a business from nothing is really difficult. But I've been very fortunate, and I had opportunities that not everyone gets. So I'm hoping to put together these types of course worksheets, things like that, to help small business owners get out into the world, because there's so many things that are like fairly easy to do if you're following a framework. And big businesses have all the resources to dominate. But the truth is, I've worked in large marketing teams at big companies, and I guarantee that you as a small business owner know more about marketing than 95% of professional marketers, because you are doing it, right? You are bringing a product to market. That's marketing. The secret to marketing, just want to finalize here, is there's no secret, right? You got to show up. There's no like mystique to this. It's the hardest part is just doing it day in, day out. So having a clear, concise, consistent message everywhere and just push that out every day. Not easy, but you guys can do it because you're small business owners and you're, amazing.